Tears of the Kingdom is finally out. It's amazing to think that after nearly 4 years of waiting since the very first trailer back at E3 2019, we can finally play the game for ourselves. With this game being the sequel to Breath of the Wild, there's tons of things people were expecting, and it's safe to say this game fixed every single problem with the first one. However, one of the things I was curious about was how the tutorial was going to play out. Breath of the Wild's Great Plateau was a masterpiece when it comes to tutorials, giving you a big sense of exploration right at the start, while still giving you some limitations and hints so it still felt like a tutorial. With Tears of the Kingdom finally released, I think it's only fair that we see how this game's tutorial plays out compared to Breath of the Wild. So without further ado, yo guys, Crazy Tendo here, and let's skydive straight into this video. Tears of the Kingdom has you start in the Great Sky Island, a chain of islands that is about as big as the Great Plateau. Similar to the start of the first game, Tears of the Kingdom first has you start off in a small room where you learn basic controls like climbing and walking. Then you go and see the massive world, or in Tears of the Kingdom you dive down and see the massive sky. Both games have you meet an old ghost and go to the Temple of Time, and then the ghost tells you to go to the shrines and complete them and get the runes. But that's where the big similarities end. Tears of the Kingdom has way more ways to go around and do stuff. With the removal of fast travel for the tutorial, you're forced to come up with more options to go across the map. Whereas in the Great Plateau, there aren't really many unique ways to traverse the map, there's really just walking. Meanwhile, in Tears of the Kingdom, you can use Ultra Hand to make things that much better. From making rafts to powering up minecarts, there's way more things to do here. The sky having islands that are separated from each other in some places makes you really think about how you want to travel. For example, towards the end of the tutorial, I used these floating blocks to travel across a large gap. The downside here, however, is that it was much easier to travel the Great Plateau than the Great Sky Island. The Great Sky Island has a lot more to do and more ways to travel from point A to point B, but unfortunately, the path you have to take is more linear. You can't really take whatever path you want. While I didn't do this, my brother tried to go to the Ascend Shrine as the second shrine, but just couldn't make it, so he had to go to the Fuse Shrine instead, which I'm pretty sure is what was intended to be the next one to begin with. Following a linear path felt a little bit disappointing, as the whole point of Breath of the Wild was free exploration. You know what else is free? Subscribing to the channel. If you made it this far and are enjoying this video, please consider flurry rushing that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1K by the end of the year, and you could really help out. It's free, I get a subscriber, you get notifications whenever I upload a new video. It's a win-win. Alright, enough of that, back to the video. Another thing I love about the Great Sky Island is that it's a longer tutorial. I spent 2 hours on it, whereas I can beat the Great Plateau in around 40 minutes. The sky also has more interesting things and is more jam-packed, but it has less enemies in general. The Great Plateau has more enemies and bigger groups of bokoblins and whatnot, while here there are only really constructs and choo-choos. It does make more sense though, as in the Great Sky Island the constructs aren't enemies, they just see you as an intruder of the island. They even attack the choo-choos. The whole area is more peaceful, while in Breath of the Wild you learn that the kingdom fell to ruin 100 years ago and that monsters took over the land, so it makes more sense for enemies to be around there. Speaking of you learning about Hyrule's ruin in Breath of the Wild, that's really the only bit of story you get during the tutorial. In Tears of the Kingdom there's quite a bit of story given, like that interactive cutscene part at the very start before you enter the sky. Man, I loved that. You awaken a mysterious corpse and an arm keeping it fell down, the arm belonging to Roru, which he reveals in the Great Sky Island. What Roru's role in the story is, I have no idea. I'm making this video right after I beat the tutorial, so I don't know what happens next. What I do know about Roru is he isn't a selfish old man who wants spirit orb treasure in exchange for his paraglider. No, Roru actually wants to help you and tells you that going to the shrines unlocks your abilities. Hell, he even saves your life by giving his arm to Link after Link got infected by the corpse's malice that earlier in the game. So yeah, Roru is awesome. Breath of the Wild struggled to get me hooked at the start because of no story context whatsoever. You literally wake up, have no memories, basically it. I mean, that's what they were trying to do because Link had amnesia and Nintendo wanted the player to experience the amnesia with Link, but it just didn't stick with me at the time. But in Tears of the Kingdom, holy moly, the beginning interactive cutscene showcasing that new evil lurking under Hyrule Castle, with the corpse being strong enough to corrupt Link's arm and break the freaking Master Sword, Zelda falling down and suddenly teleporting away, Link waking up in the sky with no idea where the hell he is, and with a mission to rescue Zelda, all provided before the game actually starts. Now that's a video game intro, alright. At the end of the day, when it comes to a battle between the Great Sky Island and the Great Plateau, there are many factors to consider when determining which one is better. Personally, I don't really know which one I like more. I keep switching between them. There's things that the Great Sky Island does better, there's things the Great Plateau does better. It really just depends on how you look at it and what aspects you're considering. So honestly, I'd say they're both as good, which is a relief, as Tears of the Kingdom is so far to me living up to Breath of the Wild, and it's just making all those little minor things in Breath of the Wild that were annoying just so much better. But anyways guys, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again, if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It'd really help out. Anyways, take care, hope you guys enjoy Tears of the Kingdom, and see you in the next one.